There we go. I see our faces.
Hi, everybody. Sorry, that was a bit of
Hello.
a slow start. I had to unmute ourselves. Welcome to our April live stream. We didn't have a live stream last month because we're trying to line them up along with our new exploration events that are going live in the game. So, thank you everyone for bearing with us for that one live streamless month, but here we are, all again, under one live stream roof. So it's great to see you all. We have a special guest with us today. Nisa, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Nisa. If you've tuned into some of the previous live streams, you might have seen me. I am the lead writer and researcher on the game. So anytime you read one of the tooltips, I am the person behind that.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, Nisa. It's great to have you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
For anyone who doesn't know, Nisa does an incredible amount of work for the limited time events. So, and she worked really hard on this LTE that's coming out to you this month, which we're going to talk in more detail about. And she's going to show you some of her process and how she's laid it all out in pre production and how we go from point A to point B all the way into production. So, it's something fun for you guys to play. Andrew, you're up next.
How's it going? My name's Andrew, also known as Lunch, and I'm the head director of the game, and I also do a lot of programming.
Yeah, and this LTE system wouldn't be possible without you. You've done a lot of the
Uh,
programming for it.
right, yeah, they are so the yeah, so for people coming in, you've know like 2 months ago we did the James Webb event, and so today we're going to be talking about the next event we're doing. But after we released the Beyond, we were trying to kind of figure out like what the next phase of things for Cell to Singularity is, and we want to try to drill down on a lot of specific topics that players have been asking for a while. So these kind of unique events are what we're doing.
Yeah, I know. Plants have been popularly requested, and mushrooms and fungi have also been kind of requested under the in like the same area of topics that people would like to see in the game. I know a lot of these have been requested to be like permanent additions to the tree, but I think the LTE system is a really good way to cover as many topics as we can in a shorter period of time.
Yeah, like a topic like fungus, we've wanted to get it on the tree for a while. It's so interesting, but we just didn't have a place for it exactly. So these separate trees, these exploration events, give us a chance to really drill down and tell the entire story of a specific topic, not just a small piece of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so we're
Um,
gonna look at some of that today, I think. Yeah.
yes, we are. And also, just real quick, I'm Emily. I'm the social media manager and the producer for these live streams. So I'm here to just make sure things roll along smoothly, that your questions get answered, and that we're able to create a platform for you to ask any questions that you have for us regarding the game. We usually have a Q&A session at the end of the live stream, so if you have any really pressing, burning questions that you want to know more about like our LTEs or our the fungi exploration that's coming up, then save them for then. But if there's a question that we can answer during the live stream, we'll see if we can get to it. So let's dig right into this because I know I'm super excited about the fungi LTE, more specifically called the Fungus Among Us exploration. Uh, this is a quick sneak peek for you guys of the social announcement graphic that's going to be going out on our social channels when the official exploration is live. So when you see this posted on our socials, it means, hey, go into the game because it's live and you should play it as soon as you can because it's only available for a limited period of time. I know we often deliberated like what kind of mushroom should be the centerpiece for this exploration just because there are so many different kinds and there are honestly so many different cool ones. And it did feel like in the end we have to go with the red spotted one because it's so familiar. A lot of people know about it. I learned it's called the Amanita mushroom, which is a really pretty sounding mushroom. I know it's often known as like a toadstool, but um, yeah. So we decided to go with this because it's a pretty colored mushroom and it's very recognizable. So yeah, I know we all had like our own uh, interpretations of like mushrooms that would be good to show in uh, the LTE. There's all different kinds of mushrooms that you're going to be learning about,
Yeah.
but you don't have to listen to me rant about it. That's Nisa's expertise.
Yeah. I love how mysterious the graphic looks. Mushrooms they're just kind of mysterious, a little spooky, maybe. I don't know. They can be a little creepy too sometimes. But this graphic I really shows kind of their true nature for me.
Yeah, we really wanted to sort of lean into this idea of kind of the complexity of the world of mushrooms, and of fungus in general, because not all fungus are mushrooms. It can take many different forms. It's a pretty big kingdom. Um, but I know that there's a lot of sort of different effects that fungus can have on the world and on us specifically as people who are around and consuming and near fungus. And the Amanita, this particular mushroom, is a particularly good example of that because while it's really recognizable, you guys might recognize it as like the Mario mushroom, for example. It is not a particularly friendly mushroom. This is not one that you would want to eat or put in a stew. So, uh, yeah, if you see one of these bad boys, don't put it in your mouth.
Yes, we actually would recommend you not do that for any mushrooms you find, just because it's the best practice when you're mushroom foraging to not eat anything that you can't 110% identify. So, just a disclaimer from the Zelda Singularity team: don't eat any mushrooms you don't know what they are. So, thank you. But you can also learn more about those mushrooms that you can and can't eat starting on April 21st at 12 p.m. Eastern. That's when the exploration will be going live. Also, I know the LTE will be live for about 5 days, so that means that it will end on April 26th at 12 p.m. Eastern. So mark those on your calendars. It's important to know those dates so that you can get as much in terms of like badges and prizes as you can during that time.
Yeah. So everyone, we're rolling out an update for the game basically today and tomorrow. If you're on Steam, you should have already seen the update. But very shortly, there's going to be a countdown button showing up in the game that has a little more information about the event. And we want to make sure everyone has the game updated before we start the event. So we're rolling out the patch this week, but then the event is going to run basically next Thursday at noon. So just yeah, when you see that update, make sure to grab it. And yeah, next Thursday it's going live.
Yeah, and I know right now, you if you've updated your games, you'll see that the countdown icon is available right now in the game, so you'll be able to
I haven't,
follow along. Oh,
yeah,
oh,
I haven't turned it on yet because
oh,
we're still
okay,
waiting. We're still waiting for Android to get approved, and
gotcha.
then once the Android app is approved, then I'll put the button on. I think there might be a little confusion because if you don't update, you might still see the button, but it might be a little confusing. But yeah, keep an eye out. Tomorrow it should show up.
All right, then very soon it'll happen.
Yes.
I also am just a little turned around because we got all that ready yesterday, so it
Yeah.
will be going live soon. So keep an eye out for that update.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
I know also some people are mentioning how very sus this update is. We actually chose the Fungus Among Us title because there are so many fungi that affect our daily lives, and that's the main point of this exploration that we wanted to provide for you to learn more about what those mushrooms are, all the different kinds of fungi, like other than mushrooms, that we have in our daily lives, and just learning more about that. I know, Nisa, you were definitely the captain of finding out all that information, and you've provided so many interesting facts that I didn't even know about before this, and it's been really fun learning about it.
Yeah, it was really fun for me to research. I know fungi are something that we've we wanted to put in the game for a really long time, and we've had a lot of requests for them over the years. And they're a sort of complex and underrated kingdom of organisms. I think a lot of people sort of think about them like plants. And for a long time, the study of fungi was actually considered a part of the study of plants, which is botany. But at some point, we learned that actually fungi are a totally different kind of organism all on their own. They're actually more closely related to animals in some ways than they are to plants, which is interesting. So there's a whole field of just the study of fungi, and that's called mycology. And so that's what we were kind of drilling down on here. But I know I learned a lot personally that I didn't already know about fungi while I was studying all of this different material. And uh, it's a pretty wild world out there.
It really is so cool. Just the fact that they're kind of like a bridge between animals and plants, and I've never seen it that way before. This like gathering all this information for this exploration has definitely broadened my mind about that.
And then some of the angle was like, because there's a little bit of a story cutscene that happens at the beginning of all the exploration events, but it kind of talks about how alien the fungus life is, but it's all around us. So sometimes we think about like aliens or something out of our world, but there's so many weird things that are just right in front of us.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. And we're still learning a lot about fungi. There's still a lot that we don't know. It's actually a pretty young science. But we've just learned so much in the last 100 years, really, and especially the last 50 years. There's new things that are being learned about fungi all of the time. So it's a really exciting field.
for sure. It actually reminds me a lot of insects because it's also a very like wide range of study for scientists. Like there's so many different insects we don't know either because there are so many different kinds, and they're also kind of alien compared to other creatures in this world. So it would be cool to do an insect one in the future, maybe. But I'm really happy that we got to feature fungi just because they're so unique. But speaking of unique, we also have some unique badges that you can earn in this exploration. Our technical artist Olga worked really hard on making these cool badges. I know we deliberated a lot when we were working on the James Webb exploration about whether or not to have you win 3 badges or just one that was that prestige from bronze to silver to gold. But now we decided it would be really fun to have 3 badges total for you to win. So you can work your way up from bronze to silver to gold and have all 3.
Yeah, and we wanted to use 3 badges instead of just one to highlight kind of some of the story that occurs or just some of the interesting facts. So maybe we can just talk about like what each one of these means. The first one is that mushroom from the branding. What did we call it? It's Adita
Amanita.
mushroom? Amanita mushroom, yeah. And that one represents I think it's the life and death that mushrooms kind of represent. Like they they decompose life and then kind of bring those nutriments to the soil. This first badge kind of represents that aspect of mushrooms.
Yeah. I know some people are really liking the pizza one, which I know is probably going to be a pretty fun part of the tree to explore. But there's going to be a section talking about food and how fungi affect like what we eat, because they might help produce certain kinds of foods that you haven't thought about before. And everyone knows about mushroom pizza, so it's an easy way to represent like how you eat mushrooms from your day to day.
Yeah, this badge is probably my favorite one, and the mission to earn it, you have to collect 3 nodes on the mushroom tree to unlock the perfect slice badge. And my favorite pizza slice is actually mushroom and sausage, but mushroom pizza is delicious, and you need mushrooms, but there's a lot of other elements you need for pizza. I think we talk about the need for yeast and fermentation to create the dough. And then also I think if you want to have a beer with your pizza, you actually need fermentation again there. So those are some of the things you'll collect in the tree.
Yeah, and then our third badge here is some people have already recognized in the chat what this is. This is going to be part of a branch that's talking more about some of the less friendly features of mushrooms. Obviously, most people know there's all kinds of mushrooms that can make you sick. There are some mushrooms that can have weird effects on the mind if you consume them. And there are some mushrooms like this particular mushroom that's featured in the badge that can actually basically take over an organism. Especially this is I've seen multiple people in the chat recognize this as the cordyceps mushroom, the cordyceps fungi, and you are correct. That creates the infamous zombie ants. So we go into that a little bit as well.
Oh yeah, like mushrooms can be both beautiful and terrifying, as you'll learn more about in this upcoming exploration.
And someone asked briefly about what the bonuses are for these. So currently the bonus is the same as what it is for the James Webb, which is a 1% production increase across the entire game. However, we're still experimenting. We know we did get some feedback where people didn't feel like that was really enough bonus. So we are trying to figure out if there's a better way to give more bonuses to the main game. So it is possible that for right now, you might just get a 1% bonus for some of these badges, but in the future, these badges actually might unlock different types of bonuses in the game, or even potentially stuff on the main tree.
Very cool. So that's something that we're still kind of figuring all of that out.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of explorations that we would love to do in the future. So I know the more we make, the more it will affect the bonuses in the future. So we're putting all of that into account.
Yeah, and hopefully next week we'll get the roadmap updated. We know if you've seen our roadmap for the game, it just hasn't been updated for about 4 months, and we've just been so busy trying to get these events off the ground. So we're going to be updating that soon.
Yes, we definitely need to move forward with that. I know we thought about doing that after the Beyond was released, but we've just been caught up with the exploration event system that we've been developing. So I guess we could add that to our roadmap now, because we have a lot planned for that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, someone has asked, there's events. Yeah, exactly. Like we haven't done the greatest job of communicating what exactly we're doing, but we are this is the Fungus event, which is coming out next week, and we did the James Webb a month and a half before, but we're going to be releasing more of these individual topics where you get a deep dive into a specific subject. Also, these events will run again. So for people that missed the James Webb, and I know a lot of people did, that'll be getting rerun eventually. So if you missed it, there will be opportunities to play it again in the future.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really excited about that. And I know we talked about like different kinds of systems to work, to figure out how to work that in. So it'll be fun to play around with that on our side. I know everyone here is probably pretty excited about the upcoming live event, or the exploration. The exploration is the term we've used to brand our live events. So again, like if you're going to be on social and following us to keep updated about the live events, whenever you hear about an exploration, that's what we're talking about. We just thought it would be really cool to put that branded term onto it to help people feel like they're learning more about something. Because that's what our goal is, and we want to help people learn more about interesting topics that they want to know more about. But since you want to know more about mushrooms, how about we actually look at the event that will be going on starting next week?
Okay, here we go. This is gonna be sneak peek of actual gameplay, or we're looking at the research first. Oh. Okay. Oh, here it is. Whoa. Okay, so this is the game.
All right, here we go. So it's our first generator already.
So first thing you'll notice, this is a totally different tree. This is not in the main game. This is a separate environment.
I want to read this first node here, an entangled world. Nisa, would you do the honors since you've written all of the nodes for this along with our other with our editor Jess?
Sure. 1 second, sorry. It
Autumn might be cut off.
yeah,
Oh, is
it's
it
cut
cut
off
off?
a little bit.
No. Okay.
Yeah,
Here,
sorry.
let me fix that. I got this.
I was like, I can read the first 10 words.
Oh. All right. All right. Here we go.
Okay. So, this is an entangled world. They're in the dirt, the water, and the air. They're in our homes, in our food, and even inside our bodies. They're entangled with just about every organism and ecosystem on Earth. There's a lot happening in this often overlooked kingdom.
So often overlooked. Whoa, what could this be? It's just our super cool new event space that our team has worked really, really hard on. We got our 3D artists to model all these really cool mushrooms. We have our art director on for this event to develop the space, and he's also worked on this really cool mushroom animation that you just saw. How they like grew in like that. I know that's one of my favorite parts of this exploration. Just being able to see all the mushrooms grow alongside learning about them.
Yeah, so over the course of the fungus event, you'll be filling out this landmass with different types of mushrooms. So like in the main game, you're unlocking different research nodes, and then you're buying generators. So the first generator you unlock is fungi, and like in the main game, the more you purchase, the more production you'll get in the background. And the currency for this event is toadstools. And you can see the little mushroom that you're earning.
They're so cute. Oh, look at the little mushroom gold quantum charge.
Yeah, we even have a golden mushroom floating around.
It's such a great touch.
We
I love the update.
We wanted to make everything in the event to feel very specific to the topic. So even though we borrowed some of the, like normally in the main game you have the golden quantum charge, but in here you have the golden mushroom floating around.
Mm-hmm. So can you see the menu off to the left hand side over here?
Yes.
Cool. I'm glad it's not cut off.
I guess.
Mm-hmm. I think we can just show a little bit about what some of the objectives are for this limited time event, so you know what you need to accomplish during the 5-day period that this event will be live. You'll have to collect specific trait nodes, generators, and those will be the main objectives for this one. But there are lots of cool things to learn about. Like for example, I love how to get the perfect slice badge, you have to get edible mushroom generator, the bread trait node, and the cheese ripening trait. So I just love that it's all cohesive and it's tied together, because it's like you're making a pizza to get the pizza badge. All of it was just very thoughtfully planned out by our team.
Yeah, so as you're completing the missions, you're also learning about some of the story, and it kind of it works it together. The mission stuff is a lot of fun. So I don't know if you played the James Webb event, but in the Webb event and also this one, like you have the missions that you have to complete, and they're pretty directed. And a lot of times you'll earn prizes such as Darwinium cubes, but then the badges are the big prizes you're trying to get. And there's 3 total that you'll unlock through the event.
Mm-hmm. I also want to give a shout out to our artist Olga. She's actually in the chat right now, communicating with our fans. She worked painstakingly on the backgrounds that are on this tree right here. So you'll see like the mycelium network here. Olga's been very passionate about representing like the network of mycelium that's under the little mushrooms that we know, because they're such a big part of fungi and how they work and how they interact with nature. As she would describe, like the little mushrooms that we know are just kind of like the apples on a big tree that is what mushrooms are composed, or that's what mushrooms are composed of. So um, it was important to represent that and then to branch it out into all the topics.
Yeah, and then Olga like helps create all these icons, and there's a I think this event has over like 45 unlocks that can be unlocked.
Yeah, there's a lot of there was a lot of content for this one. We try to sort of keep these we're trying to keep these LTEs sort of to like a sort of specific size, um, where they're self-contained and you can complete them in a couple of days. It's not going to take you months and months. But there was a lot of material to work with for fungi. So we we definitely had to cut a couple of things just because we had so much, but we tried to keep as much as possible. But there's unique icons for every single generator and every single node that unlocks off of those, all of the upgrades. We've got our new custom little currency icon. We do have this entirely new 3D garden. So there was a lot of visual work that went into creating this event.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, I love how the tree turned out. It's so well. Mushrooms are kind of freak me out a little bit, and those graphics like on the background, they're like I wouldn't want to roll around in that mushroom patch. So it's fun to it's kind of so, sometimes you'll be kind of grossed out by something, but you still have to look at it, and if mushrooms do that for me a little bit. And I love looking at the icons that we've chosen for the different upgrades.
Yeah, I like once you have it all unlocked and you're able to see the whole tree, it's actually really beautiful. There's something spooky but enticing about mushrooms, and we really tried to convey that in the art and in all of the facts. We hope that you enjoyed learning more about mushrooms in this limited time event. Uh, I know someone's asking about when it will be available. It will be going live next week on April 21st at noon or 12 p.m. Eastern.
Yep.
And it will be available for 5 days. So it will be available up until April 26th at 12 p.m. Eastern. So mark it in your calendars if you haven't already. Boop. All right. So that's just, we just wanted to give you all a quick sneak peek about what to expect for this limited time event. So we hope you all look forward to it. We worked really hard on it, and we wanted to do the really cool world of mushrooms justice. So look forward to it next week. All right. I know we also have Nisa on with us today because of how much work she's poured into this, and her whole process for this has been really fun to watch, at least from my perspective. And I'm really glad that you're able to join us here today so you can tell us a little bit about how you were able to find all this information, what sources you've drawn from, and how you laid out how all the nodes would affect each other and how we would represent this information during the pre-production phase.
Yeah, I had a really great time working on this one. I had already done a little bit of research into fungi nearly 2 years ago, when we were sort of figuring out what we were going to do next in terms of what our big expansion for the game was going to be. We ended up settling on the Beyond, as you all know, and that obviously is not fungi themed. But I had done some preliminary research on a bunch of different topics, and fungi was one of those. So I had a little bit of a base of knowledge going in. But I know one of the main sources that I used for my research was a really great book that's called Entangled Life by a mycologist called Merlin Sheldrake. And I highly recommend it. It's a really good book all about the science of fungi, the biology behind them, the ways that we as humans have interacted with them throughout history and how we're going to continue interacting with them in the future. And just sort of like all of the different ways that fungi really function in the world and how we kind of work with and against them. And that really sort of brought to my mind this way of thinking about fungi, that they're really interconnected with humans and with really everything else, pretty much every other organism on the planet. And so that kind of became our thesis statement when we were working on figuring out how we were going to approach fungi as a topic. So instead of just sort of organizing them in a more kind of linear and straightforward way, just sort of talking about the evolution of mushrooms, talking about, just sort of like, what are mushrooms made of? How do fungi disperse their spores? We wanted to sort of take a slightly different approach and think about it more as kind of this world of fungi that is just underneath our feet and in the air and in our homes and in our pantries and our refrigerators. And we wanted to have sort of like a more comprehensive view. So one of the main sort of steps to organizing things that way and to writing this was we decided that instead of having the expansion laid out as just sort of a normal tree, the way we do with some of our other content, we wanted to organize it like more of a web and sort of a cyclical, circular, just a very different layout to what we normally do. And that was one of the big sort of ideas that helped us kind of really put this whole thing together.
Yeah, because like the James Webb was like started at the beginning, and then you just go higher and higher and higher. But this one, the layout is like totally different. Like it's web-like, like you said.
Yeah, if any of you have been beta testing it, or as you guys will all see when the event actually comes out next week, it looks very different from anything that we've done in the game before, and that was really exciting to work on, just to sort of approach things in a different way.
For sure. I know it has me excited for future limited time events that we'll be doing, and like always thinking ahead of time about what the layout of the tree is going to be and the kind of story that we want to tell, along with the information that we're representing and the format of the tree. So how about we show? Oh,
yeah, let's see the Miro.
Yeah, let's see the Miro board. Because this has been a very pivotal tool for us.
So this is what it looks like. This is the game design documents. Before we put it in the game, this is how it gets started.
Yeah, let's zoom in here. You lead the way, Nisa. I will follow.
Yeah, so here, let me zoom in. So we start with sort of just basic research. We spend a lot of time going over just various like scientific and academic texts and just getting all of our notes down. And then from there, I'll go into Miro, which is the software that we generally use for our sort of level design and mapping. And I'll take all of that raw data and I'll try to organize it into groups or into a tree and just sort of make sure that all of the sort of similar and connected ideas are connected to each other, and just to get all of that laid out. So this was the first ever version of this tree that I designed. And so this was organized a lot around sort of the anatomy of fungi, how fungi grow and work, and a little bit about how fungi are sort of used in the world. But as you can see, it's much smaller than what we ended up with. And it's a lot more about specific processes. So it's a little more sort of scientific. And when we were going over this, we realized that it was a little dry. It wasn't really sort of it wasn't sort of coming across in as exciting a way as we wanted it to. So I was working on this with our editor, who's called Jess, who does really amazing work. And we generally work together to sort of figure out what the thesis of the event is going to be, what the theme is. And we settled on the idea that the theme was about the complexity of fungi and the way that they are connected with all of the different systems of life on Earth. So once we came to sort of that idea, we realized that we were going to have to change how things were laid out, and we were going to have to work with that a little bit. So that is how we ended up with our second draft of the tree, which was organized more about where you find fungi and the different ways that you can use fungi. So at this point, we had sections like Fungus at Home, which was about all of the different places that you'll find fungi and mushrooms in your house, in your garden. We had something about fungi in the wild, fungi on the menu. And this was a step in the right direction, but it also wasn't quite as straightforward as we wanted it to be. We had sort of branches going off in different directions and not really being connected to each other. And we wanted everything to be tied in a bit more. But this is also where we started coming up with our ideas for the badges. So you can see here we have the ideas of pizza, zombie ants, and psychedelics. And these changed over time. Some of them we stuck with, and some of them we decided to move in a different direction with.
Yeah,
But
we unfortunately dropped the psychedelic ones. That was an excellent achievement to get, but we wanted to get the ant zombie ant in there.
We also dropped the category lifestyles of the rich and fungus.
we did. That was our original our original name for one of the generators. We realized, unfortunately, that it was both too long on the tree and that the pun might not translate into other languages. So we did unfortunately have to move away from lifestyles of the rich and fungus, to my eternal sadness.
Sometimes you have to kill your darlings, but
That
that's
is
okay.
very true. Yeah. But and that was actually, that was a Jess original. She came up with the idea for that name, so all credit to her for that pun. So then you can see here we have a third version of the tree, and this version is a lot more interconnected.
That's crazy, yeah.
More of a web. Yeah, this is a lot closer to what we actually ended up going with, and a lot of the ideas from both the previous draft and from the final draft are here. You can also see here how we all are basically talking with each other. So the way that Miro works is that multiple people can edit on a single board at the same time. So here you can see that I was working on this with Jess, and we've been making notes to each other. So we've been just sort of like talking back and forth about different topics, discussing where things should go, discussing how things should be associated, and just in general sort of thinking about what we need from a game design standpoint, and also how we want to organize everything just from like a writing standpoint and a level design standpoint. So we've got a whole bunch of different colors going on here that mean a whole bunch of different things. We've got some notes up here talking about, coming up with ideas for what we're going to call the currency. Originally, we were going to call them spores. Eventually, we ended up on toadstools instead. And just all of that stuff. We've also got over here some links to our research materials and to sort of visual references for things that we knew that we wanted to use later.
Very cool.
Oh yeah, there's some random research that Olga threw in.
Yeah. And then finally, this is not exactly a final draft, but this is our final sort of mock-up that we created. And as you can see here, it looks a lot more organized. It's much neater. And we've got all of the different connections, and we've got our 3 big important metals that are also here. And so this is sort of like the final way that we organized things. And we did end up changing some titles and names, because those are kind of always a work in progress, but this is pretty close to the final version of the tree.
It's really cool seeing it all zoomed out.
And as you're doing these trees, we're also kind of bringing the rough drafts of the trees into Unity, our game engine, and then we're prototyping, or we're playtesting it, and then kind of modifying things. So it is kind of very iterative, and things kind of change. But a lot of times we'll discover something we're missing, or a really cool idea, or there'll just be too many connections to something, so we'll have to simplify it. But it's a bit of a discovery process as we go along.
Yeah, and we this whole process is very collaborative. I spend sort of that first part of the period after we've kind of greenlit a concept. I spend that working on research, and I mostly do that alone. But once we actually get into this stage of laying things out and deciding what they're going to look like and how the level design is going to flow, that's a much more collaborative process. And I work on that directly with Jess. She is a really amazing editor, and she has always great ideas about how we can organize things and how we can sort of reframe our ideas, as well as just doing a really excellent job of helping me to work on multiple drafts of the actual text. So once we finish this, then I go in and I translate all of my research into the tooltips that you read in the game. And we work on those together. So that's sort of a back and forth process. And then we also end up with feedback from the other members of the design team. So Anthony, who works on pricing and pacing with us, we talk with a lot. he is a huge help in figuring out what order things are going to be appearing in and when they're going to unlock and how they're going to unlock. We have important discussions with Olga on figuring out what our icons are going to look like and how those are going to be laid out and what the background is going to look like. And obviously, Andrew and Emily are in most of these meetings and are discussing all of this as it's going on and are really integral to just figuring out what we want this to look like, how we want it to play, how we want it to feel, and just giving feedback on everything, pretty much every step
Yeah.
of the way.
Yeah.
Like,
So,
like mushrooms, I would say we're all interconnected, and we work together on these limited time events to make sure that they work, and every voice matters on the team when we're working on it together. It's a great teamwork exercise for us to all be doing.
Yeah, and one of the things that we wanted to do with these events is we want everybody to have a chance to share what they're interested in and to sort of have like a voice in the creative process. Not that they didn't already, because we've always been a really collaborative team, but everyone has sort of specific topics that they're passionate about or really interested in. And this is sort of an opportunity for people to get really in depth with things that they care about. And I think that's really fun and that's a great opportunity.
Yeah, and that also includes everyone that plays Cell to Singularity. Every single one of you universe architects. Like, we're always keeping track of the recommendations that you have and all the topics that you'd like to see in these explorations. So that's also why we're doing this live stream, because if there's a topic you're really passionate about that you want to see, and we're seeing it brought up a lot, it's something that we're definitely going to put on our list and look into seeing when we can research it and get it out to you.
Yeah, this is great to see the process. So this is so for people seeing this kind of the first time, this is kind of at least our plan for the new future, or the near future, is to do more of these drill downs on very specific topics and kind of like do a high level of research for a topic and then make a whole miniature game dedicated to it. And you can see we put a lot of energy into it. So we're really excited about them, and we think they can go in a lot of different directions. These events also free us up for something we were running into on the main tree, because it's like we can't, if we put fungus on the main tree and we still want to, we can only have a few nodes on the tree. We can't put like 40 fungus things on the main tree. So with these separate events, it allows us a lot of freedom to really research the topic and go deep into it.
Yeah, otherwise everyone's phones would be turning into really hot bricks. So, and we don't want to do that to your phones. So this is, I think, a great solution to learn a lot of interesting facts about different topics at certain periods of time. And again, if you miss the initial exploration, you'll always have a chance to play it again, because we will be putting them out over periods of time for you to revisit it later. And thank you, Nisa, for sharing with us your process. I'm always fascinated by how you get all this information out, especially so quickly. You and Jess make a really good team, and it's very clear just based on all of this information that you've laid out for us, all those different iterations, all the topics and how you've laid them out. It's really impressive, and it's really cool to see your process.
Yeah, I just don't sleep.
Lots of coffee.
So much coffee. But yeah, no, this was really, really fun to work on. And actually, I think this event specifically might have been some of the most fun I've had researching and organizing and designing a feature in the game so far. And I've done a bunch at this point. But this was a really, really good time. And it was really fun just getting to learn new things. And it was really fun getting to share everything with the rest of the team and now with all of you. I know I learned a ton about fungus, and I hope that I am able to share it with everybody.
Yes, and I hope that everyone has a great time with this exploration. This was just a whole big feature to share with you what you can expect for next week when it finally goes live. And we're not quite done yet. We wanted to do a little bit of like a trivia game almost. Nisa has some questions prepared for us to ask me and Andrew and see if we know anything about mushrooms. I am not entirely confident because I spent so much time preparing for this live stream, so I didn't have much time to study. But everyone else in the chat can participate too. I'm sure you'll all have a little bit more luck than me and Andrew right now, so we'll see. That's the fun part of it, isn't it, though?
All right, yeah. So everyone in the chat, get ready to see if you can answer these mushroom questions, and I will not look at the chat, so I will answer on my own.
And
no cheating.
We'll have to keep in mind that chat will be delayed a little bit too. But even with that delay, I have full faith that they will have better answers than us. So we'll see.
Yeah. So all of these are actually all things that you can find in the event. All of these questions do have answers that are contained within either the generators or the upgrades. So yeah, these are all little specific trivia facts that are taken specifically from this event. So question number 1. What are the cylindrical filaments that make up fungi called?
Stalks?
No.
Are they called hydro enzymes?
No.
I am ashamed.
Oh,
It's one of the. It's a full node, right?
We have a correct answer in the chat. Blue James 369 says hyphas. You're very, very close. They're actually called hyphae, but that's basically the right answer. Oh, yep. Flavs Ren also has the correct answer. Hyphas in Portuguese. That is correct.
Good job, guys.
Nice. Impressive. Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah. So fungi are made up of these little cylindrical filaments that kind of grow everywhere. That's what you see when you look at the mycelium. And mushrooms are actually made from thousands and thousands of these little growths all together, and they're called hyphae. Question number 2. What is the process that fungi use to break down pollution in the environment? Oh. What is the name of the process that fungi use to break down pollution in the environment?
Oh. It's like, I know it has like toxis something in it. No?
Oh, no. Sorry.
It's not
Dang
decomposition, radioactive fungus. No.
It's not. It's a form of decomposition. But when decomposition is used specifically to break down pollution, this is a thing that mushrooms can do.
All right, chat, come on.
Chat's not quite there yet.
We'll
give it a minute, and if nobody gets it, then I'll tell you.
Man. And I've played it like 10 times already.
And I've also learned that certain kinds of mushrooms can grow in radioactive ways.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I know that.
Oh, we have. Oh, that's from Olga.
Olga.
Well, yeah, Olga is correct. The process is called bioremediation. So you can find mushrooms in basically every single environment on Earth. Oh, CTS Gamer 12345 also has bioremediation as an answer. And because they're so good at surviving, and they're so good at basically eating anything around them, fungi are able to break down not just dead matter, like organic matter, they're also able to break down certain types of plastics. They're able to break down things like oil, like petroleum. And some fungi have even been found in Chernobyl, eating radiation. So
cool.
Fungi can pretty much eat anything. And they might be a really important tool in the future for helping to clean up the planet.
Mushrooms
but again,
are so
yeah,
cool.
that is bioremediation. Okay, so the next question. This flower can't perform photosynthesis, so it gets all of its nutrients from its bond with fungi. What is this flower called? So this is a species of flower that cannot perform photosynthesis on its own. So it can't eat the way that normal flowers eat by breaking down sunlight, basically, and oxygen, or sorry, carbon dioxide.
It's a type of. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, so it is a type of flower that gets all of its nutrients from its bond with fungi.
Isn't it an orchid? Like
It
Oh,
is, yes, you are correct,
oh,
Emily. It is
okay.
the ghost orchid.
Yeah,
right.
now I got
It's
it.
a
I was
very
like,
rare flower. It's super super rare. It's very hard to find. But indeed, that is the ghost orchid.
yeah, we got someone in the chat who also got it. So
Oh, they got it. Whoa.
nice job.
Oh yeah, that is MA Carastar 1.
Nice
And
job.
Ghost Orchid, that is one of the upgrades for, I think, the domesticated fungi.
It's for fungi of the forest,
Fungi
actually.
of the forest, yeah. And that generator is about, I guess, fungi just living in the forest, or
And fungi's relationship to plants, which is very complicated and yeah, very important for our environment. Okay. Next question. Where do you most frequently find black mold?
oh,
In the
I know this.
home or in the wild?
You answer this one, Andrew.
In the home, yeah, and according to yeah, the node, black mold really only exists in like man-made buildings. So
Yeah.
it's rare to see it in nature.
Yeah, black mold is really, really common in human environments. You see it a lot on wallpaper, for example. If you have ever had a poorly ventilated bathroom, chances are that you've seen black mold before because it tends to grow in areas that are really damp, and it loves to eat like grout and wallpaper and some of the ingredients that yeah, we put in paint. So you can find it in the wild occasionally, but it's much more rare and it's much more common to find it in your basement, for example.
Delicious.
Okay, one last question. This one is a super hard bonus question because this one is actually not in the event. This is this is only for our hardcore fungi heads out there. What is the component in the cell wall of a fungi that makes it different from other eukaryotes? So fungi are eukaryotic organisms, and they have a special component that can be found in their cell wall that no other organism has in their cell wall, and this is what makes them unique as fungi.
I've definitely heard this, but I do not remember it.
So, as a hint, this element is also found in the exoskeletons of arthropods, so in insects and crustaceans.
Chitin.
Yes, Andrew Chitin.
Okay,
That is
all
correct.
right.
Nice.
Yes.
Good job.
Good job.
Yeah. I should have given chat more time to it, but because yeah, isn't that in the shells of insects? I guess that's what you said.
It is, yeah, which is really interesting, and that's another sort of connection that fungi have with other organisms and other kingdoms on Earth. Um, you find that in yeah in the shells of shellfish and lobsters, and you find it in the exoskeletons of all kinds of different insects. So that is something
And
that's
that's
really unique about
and
fungi
it
on
and
sort of a molecular
it's not in
level.
plants. So
Nope.
okay. Well, wow.
We also had a couple people in the chat got it right. It looks like CTS Gamer 12345 and also a Blue James 369. So good job, guys.
Awesome. Oh, and Pinguino zapatos.
Very nice. Everyone's so
That's
smart and you know so much about fungi.
Yeah, that one was hard. I didn't know if anybody was going to get that one.
That was a good
But
one.
yeah, so that's all of my fungi facts that I have for you today. You can find these and more, many, 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 many more, in the new Fungus Among Us exploration.
Awesome. Yay. Oh, I'm so excited for it to come out. It's I gotta get all 3 badges. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, those are some nice questions, and like I was surprised I didn't get half of the ones that are literally in the game. The name of the research nodes.
Well, clearly you and I
Yeah.
need to play through it all over
Yeah.
again, Andrew. We have
Maybe we
to
need
enjoy all the facts in all their glory. Now that we're
Yeah.
done working on the branding for it and all the programming, let's sit down and enjoy it once it's live.
Yeah, maybe we do have to have a quiz at some point. I'm kind of anti quizzes in games, but it does help you. It does force you to remember what you learned.
Mm-hmm. That's not a bad idea. I know everyone here is, or for anyone who is a recurring viewer, you know what time it is now. It's code time. This one, I tried to come up with something that was a little harder to guess. It's more scientific, but it is very much in theme with our Fungus Among Us exploration. So if anyone has any guesses for what this code could be, guess away right now. It's
Well,
it's a
why don't
fun.
I give him a clue? It has to do with
Okay.
the zombie ant.
Yes.
How do we say? So it's the. I guess I don't want to
Well,
give it away.
yeah, it has to do with the
Oh,
zombie
okay.
Oh, oh,
ants.
They
CTS
got it. They got
CTS
it.
gamer has got it.
Whoa!
It is.
They got
It
it.
is.
Wow, it's
Oh,
cordyceps.
nice.
That's a fun one to
That was
spell. Cordyceps. They're getting a little bit more complicated each time, so it's harder for you to guess them and then get them ahead of the live stream because that would be not great for me. So this one's
Yeah.
for 25 cubes. It's all caps, no spaces. For Android and Steam players, you can redeem the code by going to the menu in the top right corner, scroll down to the redeem code option, and then you input it there, and you should be able to get 25 cubes, no problem. For iOS players, unfortunately, due to Apple policy, you can't redeem them straight through your iOS device. So if you have access to a computer and you can create a Steam account, you can redeem it through the cloud transfer save system that we have. I'm sorry that it's complicated, and I really wish there was an easy solution, but that's the best thing that we can offer right now. So again, for anyone who wants 25 cubes, redeem this code. I'll pull it up again at the end of the show. I know with the trivia section that we had, we're running a little bit over time, but we still have enough time for some questions. So let's jump into our Q&A. I know some people have some questions, whether it's about this particular limited time event or others in the future and what our plans are for them. So now's the time to ask. And if you also have suggestions for topics that you'd like to see in future explorations, now is also a great time to let us know.
Awesome.
I do just want to address. I know CTS gamer 12345. You are still having that bug. I've gotten your emails. I mean, we've been emailing back and forth. We're working on figuring out what's going on there. I'm sorry it's taken a while. I am glad to hear that you've been able to get the game working on Steam again. But yeah, just know we are still working on figuring that
It just
out.
crashes for CTS Gamer when they don't have their Wi-Fi on. Or-
Yeah, when they are playing on Wi-Fi. We've been talking back and forth about it. I think it might be a device issue, but I just wanted to let you know that we haven't forgot about you.
Yeah, well, we couldn't forget about them because they posted it 25 times in the chat.
We're sorry you're having so
We're
many
sorry,
issues.
CTS Gamer, but you did get a lot of the questions right. So.
Yeah, I'm sure you've let Issa know what kind of device you're using because that kind of information is very important for us in pinpointing what the issue could potentially be. So stay in contact. We'll do what we can to help you out. I'm sorry you're having so many issues.
I'm gonna read some questions. Epco Gorius says, would you ever consider an expansion about really small particles of the universe, like going from molecules to quarks or bosons? We haven't really talked about doing that, but that is a great idea. That might even be bigger than one of these events because there's the whole periodic tables and then like talking about the Big Bang and how those are created. It's a great idea.
Yeah, particle physics is a really interesting topic. That's definitely something that we would be interested in touching on at a future date.
We almost need a different mechanic. Like these merge games are really popular right now, where you like bring things together to make a different like object. Like you merge three houses and you get like a hotel, but it could be something where you're merging elements or particles, and then bigger particles come into existence.
We have someone suggesting we have an invertebrate exploration and also a trilobite update. It would be cool to have more different kinds of creatures represented in the simulation for sure. At least I know I'd be a fan of that. We do kind of gloss over it in the main simulation, so I'd love to see them get more love.
Trilobites?
trilobites.
Yeah, I know. I specifically want to do an arthropod uh, LTE or expansion at some point because we don't really include anything about them in the game right now, and they are really important. So that's definitely something that we'd when we have more time, we would love to do.
We also had someone asking what we have planned for the Beyond Phase 2. I know that that's something that we've always kept in the back of our brains while we're still actively developing for explorations. I think that's a better question for both of you, though.
Sure, yeah. We are so right now we are prioritizing these events. So we're aiming to do like 6 of them first. But the beyond phase 2 is still definitely on our minds. We're actually having some technical problems getting the whole solar system into the beyond because I'm sorry, the whole galaxy. We're running into some weird technical problems, so we're trying to solve those in the background while we do the events. But Nisa, you've already done a lot of research on what could be in there, so maybe you could highlight some of the things that we think will be in the second phase.
Yeah, I've done a ton of research already, and we have done some sort of preliminary mock-ups on level design. So we have sort of a general idea on what we are going to be including. And as we left off with us sort of reaching the limits of our solar system, we want to focus more on the world, the universe outside of outside of our solar system and more of the Milky Way, and even further out into some other galaxies. So we want to talk a little bit about exoplanets, about phenomena like black holes, neutron stars. We have a lot of different sort of discussions about like nebulas and things like that. So just sort of like exploring kind of the greater universe and moving maybe a little bit away from sort of like uh, the sort of like linear kind of map that we have of our solar system and thinking a little bit more about sort of like big universal concepts and phenomena just on sort of like a larger scale.
It's a cool opportunity to like delve into the questions that everyone has about space that we want to know more about that is still very ambiguous because space is just so big.
Uh, let's see. Blue James asked, "Do we have any news on primate/history update?" I'm not sure if they're asking for about like primates. We do want to do a small update and get the gorilla in there.
Well,
We have, I mean, we do also have we have done some research and uh, mock-ups and stuff for some potential updates to the main game. We're still sort of deciding what to do with that. We're not sure how we'd want to integrate it, when we want to integrate it. As we mentioned, we are pretty much focusing on the LTEs right now, and we'll also be focusing on beyond stuff. So we don't have an exact timeline at the moment of when we might do that, but it is something that we've been thinking about pretty hard.
Yeah,
yeah.
CTS gamer also asked about branches on civilization and what about the astronomy branch. Yeah, we forgot about that stuff.
I didn't.
Yeah, we probably yeah. So I think we're probably going to be circling back on the Civ and the Beyond after we get a few more of these events out. We also do want to update the whole civilization garden graphics. They've never looked very good, and we do want to update them. So maybe we just got to get this roadmap out so we can clarify a lot of our plans.
Yes, I think it would be important for the whole team to meet about that.
Yeah, and I know we've been figuring out just sort of like this slightly new direction with these events, and now that we've kind of gotten our feet under us a little bit more with that, and we kind of know how they work, I think it's going to make it easier for us to just sort of make our like more concrete plans for kind of what we're doing in the future.
Yes. Oh, we got a lot of questions and suggestions. This is great, guys. Thank you for letting us know what you're thinking about the game. What's the fastest time someone has ever gotten the singularity in the main simulation? I mean, if you want to know, you should try it for yourself. And if you haven't already gotten our speed run secret achievement, you should definitely aim for it. I know there are lots of people who have shared their times in the past, so If we don't already have a channel in our Discord about like sharing your speed runs, we definitely need to add that.
That is yeah. What is that achievement? It's like 3 minutes, I think, to get to singularity.
There are two
We have
different
a
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have one that's 90. I think that's like
Is it 90
90
seconds? Wow.
Yeah, we have some very, very fast ones. So
I know there's a TikTok video of me attempting it, and I was 1 second late. It was just such a meme. I had to make it a video. So if you don't follow us on TikTok, check us out.
oh yeah, it looks like the fastest time might have been achieved by Jojo Sace, who's one of our mods on Discord.
I remember that.
All right, I think we have enough time for one or two more questions. Then I'm going to pull up the code for anyone who came in late, and then I think we'll be ending the live stream.
Yeah, just to reiterate, so yeah, next Thursday, the Fungus Among Us event goes live. So next Thursday at noon. And keep an eye out for the update. The game's going to be updating over the next couple days, so make sure you get that update before next week.
Yes, and also if you don't follow us on our social media channels, we will be posting more information about the exploration on there. So it's a good place to be to just stay updated on information that's going on in the game.
And Cells to Sin asks, I'm in rank 48 of the Mesozoic and 11 in the Beyond. Is there any, and there's nothing more to do in the primary simulation. Is there anything more I can do? So yeah, so this is what we're trying to kind of fix with these events. We're trying to add more content that right now it's going to be coming out monthly, these events, but eventually when we get the reruns, we really want to have one of these exploration events going on every single weekend for you to play. So this should allow for more stuff to collect and to keep the game fresh every week.
And also, if you're only on rank 11 of the Beyond, you got 6 more ranks to go there, buddy.
That's true.
Can we add more reality engine upgrades? I know we haven't really touched the reality engine in any updates recently, so that's an interesting thought. I know we do always like to brainstorm how we could like edit that or make it more interesting. So if anyone is, if it becomes like a really popular request, then we definitely will revisit it in the future. But right now, again, like our main priority is getting out these explorations to create new content for our players to interact with.
Yeah, the reality engine and the metabit earnings has been a little complicated for us because it makes the primary simulation go so fast, and the main simulation is the economy in the game design is challenging. So sometimes when we change things, it actually makes the game worse. So we don't yet have a solution for how to add more reality engine upgrades. But it is on our radar. We might have to, hopefully when we revisit the Civilization Garden, we can make some tweaks to the overall main flow of the primary simulation that can kind of smooth out some of the late game and then give more progression in the end. Because I know people finish the primary sim and they're like, I collected everything there. So we do want to get more like high level stuff for people to get there.
It would be really fun to come up with ways to spend metabits. Because I know that's a problem that a lot of our more veteran players have, just having like an overaccumulation of metabits and not really having anything to spend them on. So
yeah, it's a huge problem, and like everyone's has collected so many of them. I'm not sure outside of, since the economy is really hard to tune, we might have to do some cosmetics or something that can be unlocked. But there's not an easy answer to it.
Yes. We'll definitely have to do more brainstorming with the team for that. All right, I think this is a good place to end things for now. Let me just pull up the code again for anyone who's coming in late. It's Cordyceps, that fun fungi that you all know and love to take over these port insects' brains, and is also the featured fungi to start an apocalypse in The Last of Us. So that's a fun one too.
More like The Last of Sus. Am I right, kids?
You're so hip with it, Nisa.
The kids love my funky topical references.
Yeah, we didn't. It wasn't really on purpose to do the Among Us reference, but everyone loves Among Us.
Mm-hmm. All right. So thank you everyone for joining us. We hope you had as much fun as we did during this live stream. I know it ran a little long, but you just time flies when you're having fun with mushroom and fungi trivia. So
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, and thanks everyone for joining us. We are really excited to show you the mushroom one. Like as you saw, like tons of research went into it. We really like the way the graphics came out. So we think it's going to be a lot of fun next Thursday, and you're going to learn so much about fungus that you won't even be able to remember half of it. So
it's going to be a great time, and I think all of you, if you like learning about mushrooms and fungi, and you're a biology fan, like a lot of us on the team are. Then I think you'll have a really fun time for the next 5 days starting on the 21st.
Thanks everyone for joining us, and everybody stay cellular, and next week you'll all be playing it.
And thank you, Nisa, for joining us and showing us all about your mushroom process. It's really cool how you're able to research so much.
So thank you to all of you guys for getting so excited about fungi with me.
Awesome. Anytime. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. We'll see you for the next live stream. Don't know when that will be, but it will be tied along with the next limited time event that we have, which is a mystery for now. Let's enjoy the fungi. All right. Thanks, everybody. Stay cellular.
Bye.